No, you're there.
Okay, grab it and roll it up. And then the other half is in that line there. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No,
Tom, whenever you're ready.
I think it works for once.
Okay,
Here, do you want your gavel?
I'm good. I'm good.
I could get you the little one.
It's always fun.
This crap.
There we go. It's official now, it's before recording.
Hey. Good evening. This is a special meeting of Northfield City Council, February 24th of 2022. This meeting was properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 in the Press of Atlantic City on Saturday, January 22nd of this year. May I have a flag salute led by Council President Pro Tem DeWeese, please?
All right. Salute. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Roll call, Mrs. Bucci?
Here.
Mr. DeWeese?
Here.
Mr. Leeds?
Here.
Mr. Notaro?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Epps?
Here.
Mr. Policina?
Here.
And Mr. Chow. Mr. President?
Thank you. I guess we'll just jump right in. Do you have a summary sheet or not? We're just go right over the.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you
Okay.
some of the changes that I did.
Okay.
This has been a last minute post. But we got our final net valuation taxable number to see it there. We went down to 2.6 million,
Okay.
which is the second year in a row. It's only been 2.6. We used to talk $9 to $12 million. So our loss is getting less. So hopefully that's a trend. I added the 2 police vehicles in here. And money for the recreation programs that need to be discussed. And there was a request from the mayor to increase the funding for the seniors. And then you can address the CARES money and the capital plan.
Okay. Okay, so, well, Mayor, thank you for introducing yourself. On the recreation, the amount that we had donated to them last year was, we had done that to
Offset the insurance.
well, to help them with some of their expenses because prior to you the SAMs, the compliance with that rule, with those rules. Donation was so. Do it again this year. They got to give us. They got to comply with all those rules.
So you're saying even the money that we gave them last year, we have to discontinue?
Yeah, I mean, that was the intent of it. I guess that wasn't. Yeah. But
The whole point all along was to get the sports organizations to be self-sustaining, but, you know, I guess Little League, I guess they're pretty much on their own because they pay their own insurance and do background stuff on their own, don't they?
Yeah.
Little League International.
right, yeah, they have an organization that does that. So, I mean, that's where we are with that. So that becomes difficult because we know we've had trouble in the past getting clients with those JIP rules. So we're just trying to come up with a way to.
This is from JIF. This is straight from JIF. Did you?
Well, that's where the rules.
Yeah, it was the special youth against minors program that we had to adopt, where all coaches have to be background checked, fingerprinted, checked annually. So in order to have if the city has some kind of financial relationship with these organizations, and we have to do all that with them, the training, all the compliance. And it's something that. we
Even,
have to
even
do.
just
The
a
last-
simple donation to the league, it would give you a tie to them. I don't know how that would.
Well, if
I
we
don't
donate
understand how.
every year, then if we donate every year, then it's not a donation, and then
Well, it's just still donation. I mean, I donate every year. It's donation. I'm not really tied to them. I don't know. I'd like to get a little bit more on that.
Yeah, there's no formal agreement that it's gonna be an annual donation. That it's just a donation that. council
Yeah, that we
decides
vote on every year.
Then is the same insurance obligation there?
Well, our risk management consultant recommended that we don't establish a financial relationship with them if we are not going, because the guy with the deep pockets gets pulled into every lawsuit. Right.
The
So,
attorneys will look,
you
and
know,
they make that connection.
So the other alternative is for all the recreation programs to give us a list of all their coaches, have them do the training, do the background checks and all the fingerprinting.
It's not that simple.
No.
And it is a
No, it's
big-
not. It's a
big-
The
mess.
records have to be held in my office in perpetuity.
And we would need
It's,
a lot of help.
you'd have to, I can't manage it without staff.
Snack bar people, everything.
everybody,
Yeah, it's not. it's
The
not-
dad who walks on the
It's
field,
physically impossible.
even a guy one time doing the chains.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do those organizations have to do that then themselves? if
Yes.
We cut
Yes.
ties?
Yeah.
they have to sign off that they comply with our policy when they complete our field use application.
And that's the extent of our liability.
So we're not saying we're not doing it, we're just putting the responsibility on them
On
to do
them.
it,
Right.
which is why having a financial relationship with them makes that gray.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can get creative with that.
Well, you're still letting them use the field for free.
Yeah.
You're, you know, using city facilities, so it's not like you're not supporting.
No, I know that. I know that.
And I believe there was talk at one point of leasing the snack bars to them and then allowing them to staff other people's events and make revenue that way as well.
Mhm.
What was the amount of insurance that we paid for them?
Or
Last year, 12.
Whatever the,
11, I think it was 11,000. It was 11,000.
so then they would have to come up with the 11,000 or whatever,
This year.
Or whatever.
whatever their.
Whatever
whatever
the-
policy
We've
is,
been,
right?
we've been doing that for a while. I think.
The city was paying insurance, and when they wanted to sever this financial relationship last year, the council decided that fans should pay for their own insurance. And because it was kind of a last minute-ish decision, then the council decided to make a donation to the program. But
Mhm.
this year, I think they're aware that they are responsible for their insurance going forward.
I don't think they are. No, I don't think they are. I mean, I was in that meeting when we sat with them. I wasn't aware of that. So if I wasn't aware of that, I'm sure they weren't aware of that.
Their insurance broker
Yeah.
wrote the policy in their name and had them pay for it.
Correct. But I think they felt that the city was going to still put that money up as a donation.
Some other way to offset that cost for them? I mean,
Yeah,
other-
I'd like to see what else we could do with that. Well, that makes it even worse, you know,
That's
that's,
same,
that's
and we're
it.
obligated to
Yeah.
all.
I think it's the same either way.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean,
The problem
donation-
is,
donation doesn't
this new
technically
law
tie you.
allows a minor child who is now 55, who was molested as a minor, and they're 55 years old. Okay, so this isn't something that you have to worry about. This is something that every single council that comes after you for the next 50 years has
get
to
it,
worry
yeah.
about. If we don't have impeccable records of what happened in 2022, you're almost certainly going to lose.
Which means you have to have records of every single coach, every single volunteer. Their
No, I know.
fingerprints, their
I'm not
background
questioning
checks.
all that. I'm questioning the fact that it's a simple donation financially tying us to them. I mean, you know, who made those rules?
Well,
I donate to a lot of
they're signing
stuff.
an-
I'm not
they're signing an
financially tied to
agreement
them.
use the Fields, and on that agreement, a requirement of that agreement is that they provide their insurance.
Right. I know, I get that.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not questioning that at all. What I'm questioning is how is a simple donation directly tying us to them as a,
Because it's different as you as an individual and you as a council person
right?
dedicating taxpayer money to a program. That's a whole different conversation.
That's a pretty big hit for them, I'm
What a
sure.
bummer.
Then they should provide their financial statement as well, so you can see where the money's going, because then you're responsible for where the taxpayer dollars are going.
There's some talk before about them taking or doing the haunted hayride instead. Would that require the same sort of insurance? Would that, once again?
Any
connect
use
us
of
to that
municipal
liability?
facilities requires insurance. And right now, the policy they have only covers the sport, so it wouldn't cover a hayride.
They could get a special event
I'm sure.
coverage
Yeah.
for that.
Sure.
Could Northfield still allow them to use Birch Grove Park for that without, and would that be something to give them to make up that revenue?
Well, we don't typically allow currently organizations to charge a fee for use of municipal property. It's public property and they're charging a fee to use public property. That's sticky. I would consult the solicitor on that.
I mean, they would still be able to run their snack bar or run the snack bar. So,
Some other way that they could utilize their volunteer labor for a way to make
Yeah.
one of those fun.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's a
how
good-
is
it's a
it-
good,
how is it
it's a
that-
good thought, Paul.
How is it that Little League is able to do it?
Little League's insurance is probably around, is under $2,000, maybe under between 2,000 to 3,000, somewhere in that range. Little League has a international group that they're in, so they get much better.
And I think with the concussions associated with football and contact sports, the liability is considered to be higher.
It's football and basketball, correct?
And
Yeah,
cheer.
it's all- it's
And
everything
cheer.
but- It's everything but baseball,
So it's football, basketball, and cheer. There's no other sports.
but yeah, they don't have anything else in it. Yeah, they talked about it. But then all the coaches coverage, which that, the Little League's cost falls under that same cost. And it's a similar number of players.
Have they thought about increasing their registration fees,
They have.
passing it
They-
along to the
they-
users
they-
instead of all
exactly.
taxpayers?
They could do that. They try to keep them as low as possible for the residents, but, sometimes you're gonna have to raise the fees. Especially with the way things are going these days. Well, I mean, I like to look into it a little bit more, see if there's a way to do it. Maybe we can get creative. in some other
Is that, Mary, do you know if that's how they do it in the other cities too?
I don't have any idea. I know Linwood has a very different setup. They have a recreation board with a director who's paid. So perhaps that's how they're able to do it. I don't know.
I was just wondering if there was some
I think
type
they
of
run it off-
risk sharing group.
They run it off to a city employee. The city participates and then runs, so they probably,
That means they have to keep all those records.
that means they,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then
Yeah.
it's all that onus on that department to do all that. In order to comply with the law. They may or may not do it, that's.
Right.
That's their problem.
Right,
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking, if it's, where they have about 200 families, so it would be $50 a family. for registration. Okay.
Just another tax for the residents.
but I mean.
Yeah,
That way.
6,500, yeah.
Pacific
Yeah.
too, they're the ones
Correct,
participating,
yeah.
so they're choosing to
Absolutely.
engage in that
Yeah.
activity for their children. It's. I understand that point too.
Yeah.
What is their registration fee?
It's $100, 120 maybe.
Didn't they tell us at one point there's like 900 kids that participate? I just did some quick math. It's $12 a kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm gonna dive into it a little bit more with them.
Or maybe it was 900 families. I forget. but
Yeah,
It was
we
a big
could-
number.
Yeah,
I think there's giant, I think numbers over multiple years.
Oh, okay.
That, I think, I'm pretty sure the presentation for the field, I think is only around two. A little over 200,000.
That just football or is that football?
That's in their all, in all basketball cheer.
And all their activities?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Right.
$55 a kid.
yeah. Roughly, yeah.
yeah, it's a lot for some families, but, you know, hey, like Brian said, they're the ones using the facility, so. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. We got another budget meeting.
The seniors, now, that's another one, but I don't think we're going to increase the funding. No, we joined the two programs, I think it's, we decided that. We didn't increase it at one time, quite a few years ago. Just to get you insight, because I will have to contact Tom and so on. There are two senior groups that we should work with. One is at our library, and one is at the facilities. And I think it's perfectly clear that if we were to join them, there's no religious connotation or they just rent the hall from church. From what I understand, and with Councilman Curry, it was running the program, and I have attended a few of the meetings. The library board or library room, it's maxed out. There is not enough, they have well over 25, on an average, of well over 25 individuals that attend at their meetings, their once a month meetings. The other, and he had to, from what I can understand, so he had to cut it off because they just couldn't accommodate more individuals. There is another group that I said, another senior group of Northfield residents, from my understanding, that means St. John. There has been complaints in the past where they would, there are individuals who would like to be with the meeting that meets at the library, vice versa. I know there are senior citizens that go with the other group and came and wanted to come over to, as I said, to the library, but we couldn't do it. So I came up with the idea, and I discussed it with Tom, since he was playing his non-fitness committee. If we could just join them together, we would have the facilities used as St. Gianna. It was going to rent. There's understandings that there's no religious connotations. They would provide activities and the monies that I'm making a recommendation could recover, which it does right now. I think there's like $2,000 something, $100 that Frank used to cover for refreshment and supplies. I would double the cost approximately, since it would be well over 50 people, from my guesstimation. From what I understand that last month there were over 25 people that attended at St. John's. Now we haven't had, because of COVID, we haven't had for some time group be at the Northfield Library. So there is an understanding that the funding would only cover the refreshments and supplies. It could not use for private use. So, for example, let's just say we went on a trip to XYZ, they would have to do it on their own. So in that case, I see a great opportunity to get engaged more speakers with Frank did had every to these individuals that are a great number of individuals that we at the
hall at St. John's. So I have met with the group president at St. John's. I have not met, because we haven't had a meeting with the Northfield Board meeting that night. So I am proposing the council that increase it to $4,500. That's the stipulation.
Is that, are you, so are they going to be then part of,
Yes, it would be combined. The title will still remain as the Northfield Senior Citizens.
so then the other, so then the group that, the group, the St. Gianna's group is going away?
Well, they're not going away. I mean, because it was never part of St. John's. It was just another senior citizen group that could not, many of the members should not come into the Northfield. Because there's not enough room.
Oh, okay. So it's not a St. John's group, it's just,
No.
they just happen to use St. John's at the meeting.
Yes, and they pay rent. They pay rent to the church. So that's.
And their funding is just. from their-
They're doing their own self-funding.
They just
I mean, fundraisers or donations. They bring in their own food or supplies and so forth.
Okay.
It wasn't funded whatsoever by the state.
The facility that they need a large facility then. It's
Well,
not
if
that
if you combine the two groups together, there's no way 50 people
It's 50 people, yeah.
could fit in that room there.
No, I'm
no,
exactly
I
answering my
understand.
question, yeah.
You said, do they want to combine?
Yes.
And you spoke with,
Well, the group that rents St. John's, the other group has not met.
Yeah, but we have met with,
The other group hasn't met. They didn't meet over the last 2 years. So that would have to be,
what is the funding now?
2,300 is the one.
That $2,200 that the city put in their budget, but that was to supplement some Alliance grant money that we have, and these have speakers and those types of things.
You want to raise it to 45.
Because with, in theory, what I'm saying, if we had 25 people meeting at the Northfield Library, and we have 25 at St. Gianna's Hall, that's 50 SRs, probably double.
So if they haven't spent the last 2 years, that means we haven't spent that money in 2 years?
As long as they don't have to comply with the Megan's Law and all that.
Right, we had to fingerprint them all.
Seniors are good.
Now, the only thing I will say is, I'm all for this, but I know that my aunt used to go to that. She doesn't live in Norfolk. So it's not always just Norfolk seniors. But we have to make sure that we understand that it's a senior citizen program, not irrespective to.
But I would submit to you that because of the nature of programs that we were providing, if they wanted to invite guests, and I didn't want to get this out to the public in terms of specify everyone's free for all.
Sure.
But, some of the programs are very vital, especially for the county. And county government, excuse me.
And can we coordinate with the county center?
Yes, I have been in touch with someone.
Well,
Well, not supplement, but I mean, provide.
provide services. Yeah.
Well,
Like the
yeah,
Meals on Wheels program.
Yeah, it's available,
Maybe
absolutely,
nothing-
absolutely, yeah, but I haven't gotten to that
Okay.
stage yet.
Well, I think we probably need to be careful, because I know there were complaints before that Northfield people were being turned away. So before you open it to everybody else,
Right,
you
yeah.
wanna just to-
Well,
I would say we would have to
go around advertising it.
Well,
yeah,
that's my concern. Is that
And maybe instead of ordering like the big buffet spread, that they should just serve like refreshments, because we have had them show up at finance with the bill for all this catering, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna happen.
I know that the meetings that I attend here in Northfield Library, Frank would order a sandwich tray and some cookies and lobster and, It's a matter of quick.
Snuck that in, didn't he?
Is the community school an option for a meeting place? The Northfield Community School? They have a cafeteria,
Well,
cafetorial.
they meet during the day in schools. And then, of course, you have adults, with all respect to people, are coming into the building. in terms of security. I don't think
Mayor,
Who wouldn't like it? The school? If seniors came into their community school, I think that's ridiculous.
It is. We should
Well,
make it-
I understand the daytime aspect of it,
Yeah.
but to not
Yeah.
want seniors to come in and use the community school
Well,
for a meeting.
That
for
they're paying
seniors
for, essentially.
Would be ridiculous in my mind.
well.
They are paying property
Am I,
taxes
for the
for the
what I'm
schools.
saying or suggesting that it's not. On seniors, but I don't know where we can put them. don't
Well,
know.
I wasn't aware they met in the daytime, I guess,
Yeah.
so I understand that complication.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Do they
like I
have
said,
to
I don't
meet
know
in the
where we
daytime?
put it in that.
But I mean, they can meet on Saturday.
I mean, I'm just wondering if that's an option where you don't have to pay rent.
Well, you still, there will be a fee to the school. They charge them that fee. Because they have to bring.
Maybe they could waive that for the senior group that pays property taxes for
Well-
children.
They could.
I'm just throwing things out there.
They could, I know that some of our sports organizations.
Charlie, do you know how much the rent is?
I'm sorry.
Do you know how much the rent is at the church?
Who?
Do you know how much the rent is at the church?
It varies with, what was negotiated and what is the nature of the group deal. I don't know all the groups that use that.
You know, seniors pay? You know, how much the seniors pay?
I think they were paying like, 800 some dollars.
A month?
No, not here.
Oh, a year.
Okay.
And then they get free run, free use of the place whenever they want,
Well,
or once a month, or
well,
one meeting a month.
Yes.
That's not too bad.
Mayor, there wouldn't be an insurance obligation on the part of the city if our group merges with theirs. Is the church going to expect us to provide liability insurance?
I didn't talk about that. That's a good point.
For insurance purposes, we used to recognize the members of our senior committee by resolution. We haven't had an active committee in a few years, but
Yeah.
just something to keep in mind.
I'll get on that. I'll talk to
Insurance gets in the way, of everything. Doesn't it?
It show do.
insurance, yes. People don't realize that we have that, not,
I'm starting to.
that's always been a hot topic of contention with regards to the parades that we run in the city.
And almost every event.
Events and stuff, Birch Road. and-
Yeah, absolutely.
People have to carry their own insurance on their own policy.
Yeah, same thing with Santa Claus, kids certainly know what's going on from ride and so forth. Our own firefighters, we can't have them sit on top like we used to. Where you have to pick one thing.
It's amazing. Bouncy houses.
There is one other thing I'd like to make clear, was the city council, so. The cost is a membership fee of about $5,400 to a company called Drug Pro. This is one of the programs, or like computer programs that they produce, or software produce, for code enforcement. Our code enforcement individual involved with Chief Newman, and I've reviewed it, and I have a webinar. This program basically is a bookkeeping, accounting, reports that are logged and so forth. Basically, I'll put this in a nutshell, like a secretary. So, for example, when, don't we have a, we have,
Enforcer. Yeah.
We had a different one. We have.
Yeah.
What was Linwood using? Is it the same one? Is that Gus?
That's the one they use, yes.
What's Gus? Bill is here for some reason.
that was, when I was at the League of Municipalities, I saw several companies that offered, and I was impressed with the Go Pro, and I had, as I said, a webinar with Chief Newman and Paul Stoll, and he was out there and he knew that, and I said, if you don't like this, or if you have something else that you like, look into, let me know.
What's wrong with what we have? What's wrong with what we have? What's the name of the one we're using?
We did
Yeah, I mean,
enforcement
stuff that
and
we
they
use.
link all together.
Enforcement.
Production, zoning and code.
And we pay an annual fee for that.
When are we using it? Is there something wrong with it?
No,
Oh, we're using it just not the officer.
Well,
Oh, okay.
They're all using it.
yeah, and that's why I said
Just misinformed.
like, you want to go with it. And the new recommendation is we would like to have some software that would assist them in logging and reports and so forth. And with two,
Does our current system allow that, the reporting and all that other stuff?
This is a new program for the,
Code enforcement, right.
is this the one that,
It's from
Linwood?
Linwood.
yeah,
Yeah, but if we already have one, we're already paying for it, why should we buy another one?
Right,
Without a
without,
part-time employee.
certainly without a list of what the advantages are, what efficiencies it would bring.
And I, with all due respect, because I know our former code enforcement, my understanding never used it. And, well, yeah, it needs to be trained, but he did, my understanding, he didn't use it. And when, we had this new code enforcement, I presented it to him, I said, you want to go with this program, or you want to go with this program? I showed him the webinar on the Gov Pro program, and then I said, choose, if you don't want to go with anything, that's fine. So, this recommendation is with the pros and cons, where you would like to go with the program. And it isn't, there's no obligation if we want to, end our membership after the end of the year. We're not tied into anything.
Right.
Quick question. the stuff we're using now, was there a big capital expense to get what we have now? And then a monthly fee? I mean, is it,
We pay $300 a module.
right,
Zoning, construction, and code enforcement, and they're all linked and everybody has access.
and that's it?
We pay $900.
Right. Was there, is this a physical module or is it just,
It's a software program.
right,
It's proprietary, but it's a sole proprietor who owns it. And when we need changes or modifications or training, we call the guy on the phone and
mhm,
like, we just started the new taco yesterday. And I called Mike on the phone and he had her set up in about 5 minutes.
right.
So.
We have a system, just nobody's using it.
No,
we
they're
are
using it. But my question is, was there like hardware expenses? Was there capital expenses?
No.
It's just a fee, we're getting rid of one fee and adding another fee. All right, well then,
But Linwood was saying.
if
they
the,
could
if the
use
new
this-
one's better, you guys know better than.
Well,
than-
the only
than me.
thing I would caution you is what are the costs of taking the existing data and putting it into the new system?
Well, there you go.
That's always a question. Right.
And is this only code? Because right now we have a system, Robin inputs stuff in planning board. The zoning officer sees it, the code enforcement officer sees it. We can see permits, we all see each other's data. So if this is just code, does that now it isolates that function and everybody can no longer see everything?
Right.
I don't know enough about this program.
They made
And
it
we
sound
don't-
like it was interdepartmental and that they could also use it for
Yeah,
an
please.
iPad.
But is it a user-based fee? Is the 50,
There's a VPN setup that was hacked from Russia, but it's shut down. We're not using it.
Where was this?
This is the one we have now.
It's the one you have now. So it's only, we're not using it.
You're not using it because you can't access it because of the VPN.
The VPN issue. Now, there's other ways of doing it that's been around. I'm not going to use that right now. 'Cause I'm not,
Well, we're not getting two different stories. We're getting, it's being used, it's not being.
Well, I think what she's saying is we used it, and this is why we're not using it right this minute.
there's a temporary inability of the code
Right,
enforcement
yeah.
officer to use it because of
For sure.
an issue with the VPN.
Sorry.
But we have been using.
But we can also run a line and hardwire it into it.
So if we want a new one, that's great, but it doesn't do the same thing. Is there a per user fee? Right now, we can add as many users as we want. We don't pay additional.
Right.
I believe the one Linwood has is per user.
Most of them are not.
So you may need some more information.
I can come back with that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we can see what the migration cost is. And if there's a,
For user base.
and it will do all, yeah. It will integrate all the systems, not just, it'll integrate all of them, not just
Per year.
all the construction.
And zoning, planning.
Zoning, planning, and
And is there a per user fee?
And I believe Linwood bought everybody iPads to use theirs in the field. So we would have to consider, is that something you're going to do here too?
What, you-
They use iPads.
They use it in the field,
no,
right, goes right to the database.
So that's also going to mean a monthly recurring cellular fee for each device.
how does, with regards to the zoning, how if they're out in the field, how do they get the information into the program?
He comes back into the office and inputs it at the desktop PC.
Is there apps for their phones? Do they have?
Not for this one, but for that one, there may
This
be.
right here.
So we wouldn't necessarily need to buy iPads if there's an app.
No.
We pay for it, right?
Use a tablet.
But do you want
Yeah.
people using their personal phones to do city license?
I think they
These are
have,
cloud,
they
I
have
think
city
you don't
phones.
want that,
Right.
you don't want that, but.
They have city
you-
phones.
You get one of those, they said you didn't have to get an iPad or anything sophisticated, you could use a small, tablet if you want to do it. Tablet's $99 or something like that.
We gotta have cellular, unless you download it when you get here.
And that's one more thing we got to put on the computer network. It's gotta have
And that's a
security.
$50 a month cost
Yeah.
per device.
Look at it as
Find
next
out what all
budget
the other
cycle.
costs are.
I mean, luckily for us right now, the code enforcement officer drives a marked police car that has a computer in. Already being paid for, so we put that software on that computer that he uses.
Can they access it through that?
I have to ask.
Or, well, once the
It may
VPN,
be
you
a
know,
violation, it might be a state violation, to put that on there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have to dig it out.
John has a question.
Yeah, I'll-
Gotta climb down.
Hand off. State.
It's just easier for me, and that's separate meeting.
Stand still.
we on tax meeting? No. There another meeting?
So I put the list together for the project. that
Oh, okay.
was our potential project list that we had. I am still waiting on a price for the boiler because the rec is coming out. And look at the old boiler, because the cost to remove that, and you wanted to see if there was asbestos in it. And if there is, maybe it was a video. And we don't know. But we should have.
This is
a
the
price.
boiler.
No. So I think.
We don't have any. We don't have any idea what the ballpark is.
No, but we could fit it in here. And what I wanted to point out with this plan, I worked in disperse the funds throughout the budget. So these have to be projects, they have to be ready to go. So we can't just sit on them, and we have the deadline with the feds, we have the deadline with our own budget cycle. So when you approve these projects, they have to be done.
Shovel ready?
Or two.
Two.
Shovel ready 5 years?
Shovel-ready projects, they have to be encumbered by the end of this year and at least working on them because
Okay.
our operating budget, the way we're appropriating, we can only have those funds for 2 years or lapses. We have to make sure we're ready to move. And You already decided on the playground and with things, I put an X for the things
Okay.
I think that you approved at the last meeting.
I think based on the, probably had in the building last year with the HVAC. Wasn't it, the repair made with one of the recommendations? No, we haven't.
Right, yes. We're gonna need a new HVAC system.
Is that for both sides, or is that for both sides, or is it separate units? for the-
We have one.
We have one unit for all, the whole building?
Right? I think we only want.
Does the,
Do you know that?
the
You do now.
playgrounds,
What was that?
what was the basketball courts part of this?
They're not on.
No, that's not part of the playground stuff. That's a different quote.
All right. So where was that? Where was,
That's in capital.
that's in capital on the other page.
So are we doing any, I know this says the playground for Birch Grove. Are we doing anything for the First Street? Birch?
No, that's more recent than the Birch Grove part stuff.
That's more,
The equipment's more recent.
oh, so we're not doing anything.
Correct. We're not doing anything with that.
Just wanna make sure.
There is, you'll go down under the boiler, because the Bobcat walk behind Mower Public Works had requested that in capital, but it's only a $7,000 investment, so we don't want to put that in bond. So I don't know if you wanted to do that project, that this would be the best way to do that. Mary and I met with the computer people, it's about $95,000 to do everything we need to do here. Email and our data encrypted and our servers replaced and so let me have every other thing we did, including the Office 365 software mail and backup that you approved at the meeting last night. That's all.
And then it helps with all these hackings and, Russia. And help.
So what it means is
Russia.
we won't be able to get into anything, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But it moves us more towards compliance with our cyber liability insurance, which gives us a reduced deductible in case there is some sort of an incident.
Right.
Yeah, this will get us to tier 2, so we would be reimbursed $20,000 of our $25,000 deductible.
I think the settlement of what, the current settlement from 2012.
Yes, they're end of life. And the,
This includes the replacement of the server?
yes, include the replacement installation of the servers. Our ports were bad and they did a workaround to keep us going and one of our disk drives had failed.
Mhm.
So they all need to go.
The document scanning, is that the stuff in the office?
I had proposed the permanent records in the clerk's office to be a starting point.
Right. Would that be 100, would that be the,
I ballparked it based on the price we got from a vendor a long time ago. We would have to go out for RFP for this. We can't just pick a vendor.
yeah. But that's the important stuff right up there.
I
Is there
think
more
it's the
stuff
most,
somewhere else in this building? that-
it's the most meaningful.
Or the building
Yeah.
department, building zoning code, talking about plan, all that.
Yeah,
The applications,
all their history.
like, and not only that, but, that's what we talked about, a program to try to give people access to be able to get some information from the board records as well as, applications. Right now, as you know, you come in for an application for a claim. Municipalities do it online.
Yeah, okay.
But, that's another animal.
Yeah,
It's actually go for permanent records, right? Yeah.
That was
Like the stuff, the things that we don't need to keep.
Right.
indefinitely, we wouldn't-
yeah.
we wouldn't put that on. Because right now, all the do is all services. Picking up a lot of them.
Yeah.
So Dawn, this leaves about 100,000 for a boiler, is that correct?
47. 795. 745. One thing I wanted to mention, $45,000. So we have a proposed financing schedule for the bond issue that we talked about last time. Rates are around 3% now, which are still lower than they've been in a long time, but a little bit higher. So we're trying to get our financing in place by the end of April. In order to do that, we have to come up with a interest payment this year. Typically, if it's in for June, would be in the subsequent year. So my proposal was that we use that $45,000 of some of the money to
You can
try
do
out
that?
that.
That's
We can-
within the parameters of,
We can do, well, this is our money, we're using it as a revenue offset, which
Uh-huh.
means that we can use it for the general provision of government services.
I see.
We're not gonna say we're using it for that.
Maybe That's gonna go up a half a point, maybe even before it.
The roofing numbers, I mean, who came up with these? Was this,
The architect,
the architect came up with these prices?
we are proposing about that. So now, this is our basic outline that I would put through the budget, but none of these projects are gonna be done until. town-
Prevailing wage.
No, I
They're all
get it.
over the threshold, so they're all gonna come back to you.
Right,
So this
for a
is the stuff
second.
that you're all gonna say, what, it's 100? Well, we will, these are our budgetary estimates. We're gonna follow the same purchasing process that we always do.
Exactly.
It's over 17.5, it's gonna come back. to you.
That was pretty necessary to me.
And,
That 747 total includes the, we we don't have X's by the amphitheater and the pavilion.
Yeah, that includes all that. now.
Let's just say we come in a little lower on the roof estimate.
That'd be great.
Then we allocate that money somewhere else via ordinance.
The money is in our budget. So
Right.
therefore, if we know that's gonna be less, it's gonna be allocated to our budget. In November, we can transfer money. Or if we let it lapse, it goes into fund balance, and then you appropriate for another purpose in subsequent years. Not going away.
Yeah.
But if it comes in lapse, well, we'll be surprised that never happened.
What happens if you don't get it done in 2 years?
I'll set up a payable, but we need to get it, I have to report all this. I have to document, I have certain.
What the projects are, their
I'll
completion
borrow
date,
all the hours,
estimated.
blah, blah, blah,
I imagine that's a good reason. Everybody,
Do we have an idea roughly what the boiler's going to cost?
Was reluctant to commit today because of the asbestos issue that I mentioned. But,
If no
we'll know at
asbestos-
our next meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I brought up those two items that don't have X's. Are we committing to that then? Is that what we're including that in there? We didn't discuss it at all, so I'm just, are
I
we putting,
guess if the
are we
boiler
putting
comes in-
X's next to it?
I think the boiler is the wild card here. If the boiler comes in at 60, I'm thinking we don't, one of those has to come off. Or we have to do it through other cap or.
Put it somewhere else.
Put the code enforcement vehicle on the bond, correct?
Well, we could, because we want to get a car. Cars are not bondable under the bylaw.
Yeah.
Which is
Will we have,
why,
will we have a boiler price by the next meeting? Thank you.
So they're not X yet, but they're not off yet.
Okay,
We
okay,
didn't do anything just now.
thank you. Well, you cleared it up in my mind, so we did something.
We didn't change it. And those are all Birch Grove items. Page 8 is our next,
this is, yeah,
what we're gonna have for our next bond.
this is what, yeah, this is the draft outline for what our next issuance would be in the next 4 or 5 years.
Should change.
What everybody, all the departments had sent to me. And then I filled in with road and drainage programs and projects and sewer projects. We do the roundup. Obviously, the brand names and the model numbers are just to give you an idea of the size of the truck. It doesn't mean that's what we're buying.
That, the Dodge, that's public works. Isn't it?
Those are public works.
Those are public works.
Yes.
No, the next one, I'm sorry, the Dodge utility body,
Yes, that's.
that's also public works. There's that next one after the Dodge, the pickleball courts, that's pickleball and basketball.
And basketball.
Correct.
Could you, yes, slash add basketball there on that?
Well, when we do the bond, it will just be recreation improvements. We like to make it general so that we can.
Mhm.
But the engineer's cost says for pickleball courts and basketball.
You may be able to help me out with this one, Greg. The bleachers, 150?
That's all 6 fields.
That's all, that's replaced in all of them?
It's an estimate for visitors and home benches, all 6 fields or bleachers. You don't have to,
Do we need to do all of that?
I don't know where that came from. I
Yeah.
didn't put that on there.
that was an
Can-
estimate at the
can we
last
just
meeting.
get-
At the last meeting, so I put it in there,
So-
so it did get forgotten.
Right. The only thing that needs to happen is my understanding, some folks are a little bit concerned about Public Works moves a set of bleachers from the baseball complex to the football field, depending upon the
The
season.
request at the Little League meeting on Monday night was that, I know last meeting discussion, we talked about Fan had requested bleachers. Little League made the same request to have bleachers, so they didn't have to move them.
Right. So all we need is just one set.
One set.
One set
That's
to
all we
go
need.
in the football field, and then we don't have to move anymore. All of them are relatively new and in good shape.
And if you move
they're-
them, if you keep moving them back and forth,
Remember they
there's a
wanted-
chance of
Right,
it breaking.
but the ones, they're moving one set back and forth.
Yeah.
So if you put that one set and leave it in a spot, then you just need one
We're
for.
moving one set from
you're
the
not
farm
moving them
field,
back and forth.
from the farm field to the football field. Little League has 3 sets of bleachers, if I remember correctly. Every field has them, so we only need one set.
One set. That's it.
And the small set, I don't know what they, I got
Which
the
is not
19.
$150,000.
No,
Done. Next.
they're,
2,500, 25,000.
Yeah. I think that's high, but it's.
Is it,
it's-
is
They
it,
have-
is
the
it
numbers
one
there.
or is it home visitor?
Cushions on them. Or-
Reclining seats.
They're
Reclining.
embroidered.
Cup holders.
What they have is they have the mesh around them and
Yes, they
the
have the
aisles have got their
fencing.
handicap accessible with the handrails and stuff, so.
Greg, is it
Right.
one
They
or is
don't
it home
have gaps.
visitor too?
Just one,
One, okay.
one set.
Meaning 2 bleachers, a set, what is it, what do they come in, a set of 2?
You
a
you
set
order
of
what you
one?
want.
One, right? Say
Well, the
set,
size- the
When you
size
say
of the-
set, I think too,
Basically,
you
the
know?
size of the one we need.
Whatever you have now, we're gonna replace it
Right.
and get one just like it.
Replace or add to it?
Add to it, sorry.
All right, Greg, you
Whatever we
said-
need.
You said that the ones that we have are all in good shape. We don't need to have an extra.
No, they're all pretty much brand new, probably around, when did Crew get them? 10 or 12?
They're in good shape.
One.
They're in good shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're structurally sound. Actually, they're much better than the original ones that we replaced.
The ones on the football field visitor side are compliant?
I'm sorry?
The ones on the football field visitor side are compliant?
That's the one
Yes.
that you can move.
That's right.
There you
So
go.
that's the one we, yeah.
The old ones are gone. Yeah, the old ones were.
We have the fence around, the
Right.
high fence around, all the fences going in, they're all. They get inspected twice a year, from what I understand, through
It is a
Jess.
small,
It's a small set.
it's a small set,
Yeah.
so.
I'll get the dimensions so you know
Well, I think
exactly what we're
If we
getting.
put 25 in there, I think this is good, something. If we put it there. it's
Decent in there.
But,
A little bit
so-
larger since it has a bigger crowd.
Well, we gotta be careful because they're concrete pads that are sitting on, and the concrete pads are pretty close to the dimensions of the bleachers.
Okay.
So we don't want to get anything bigger, it's gonna overhang.
got it. Yeah,
And on the
Just add to the
football side,
concrete.
and on the football side,
We could always add to the concrete.
So this would be something earlier in the cycle. right?
We'll see.
when's the last time you've been to a farm baseball game?
No, we're talking about.
Football field.
It doesn't matter, the same thing, same thing. And they have to fit in a specific place, so.
Yeah. Right. Your question?
I said, Brian said, yes, but this would be a more immediate need since you're moving things around, so I moved it to 2022.
Okay.
We're doing this in order for this year. So for this year, for 2022, plan is set up for the fire truck for 1.2, fire department SUV replacement for 55, and now something for the bleachers, which makes an authorization of 1.2.
I have a concern with the fire department's SUV. I don't think 55 is gonna be enough money.
You looking at Tahoe? Tahoe or a pickup truck.
I know the pickup trucks aren't available until 2024. Spoke to them yesterday. The Tahoes went up. Whatever.
Price of metal's going up too.
Maybe want to add $10,000 to that. Just be safe. Yeah, the state contract
now.
reissued in April. Up until April. Then breathe in April.
The F-150.
What price did you get?
Top is 40.
Yeah.
The F-150 came in at about like 38, just the vehicle bike.
What about?
There was other reasons I stayed away from the F-150 engine reasons, stuff
Yep.
like scrap that, about another 10,000, no, excuse me, almost 19 goes into it. But
That's,
yeah, but $19,000. For us, not maybe not ton of the fire
Right.
hazard there, almost speak for fire, but.
What is that number? 40 cents?
40 for the vehicle, 19 for the.
40, good.
Greg,
How much, what's the equipment cost on the fire?
We haven't done one in a long time, so I can't tell you.
Is it similar to what OEM is?
Look, not that price that I got for the other one, no. It's right around 14 to 15 grand.
That's what I meant. Yeah. For the equipment.
So 40 plus 15 is 55.
If you get it at 40, that's what I'm saying.
Is that what-
State contracts up in October, in April, they redid. Right. So.
If you can still get it for 40 is what you're saying.
Well, we have to order it before April.
Okay.
I generally need yesterday.
Mhm. The sewer jet trailer. Greg, you may be able to shed some insight on that. What does that do differently than the vac truck? Is that, am I
The vac
saying that
truck?
right?
That truck sucks.
It is,
Why do you do that? I'm sorry.
they both suck.
Good one. That was a good one, man.
I have to find out from Quinn exactly what he's talking about, because the Vector does the same thing, but I have a funny feeling this is going to be a utility type trailer used for
It's a
something.
trailer.
Yeah.
It's a trailer, it's a different.
Now, remember that
What,
I have to be careful how we approach this. The Vector truck is for stormwater.
mixing the two.
Right. So I would caution you with that.
Yeah.
That this sewer jet trailer
It
is
gets out
sanitary.
clogs, it
It's
gets out
sanitary.
grease, it gets,
Right.
And you can't mix the two, correct?
I don't know.
No, you're not supposed to, correct.
Maybe we have to talk to Jeff about that.
I don't think the GIF has much to
See if
do with
they
that. The
let us.
DEP may have something to say
I
about it.
don't know, I'm just, you know where I know, you know where I'm going with it, Joe. It's every time you turn around.
Where do they empty the content?
From what?
From, take from the one that's picking up all.
The stormwater stuff?
Yeah.
It can be just dumped at the dump. It's just material. It's not great material, but it just, county has a whole big pile of it in the back.
Did he get that? picking
They
up
use it
on
for select fill
the
sometimes.
sewer trailer? Is that, did he get a bid on that? Did he research that?
Yes,
Yeah. We have one now.
I'm sure
it's just
Quinn,
getting
they
old.
already have one. It's just they
old.
want to replace. I want to find out why he was not in today. He was out sick
I talked
today.
to him briefly about it. He didn't give me a reason why, but he just said.
You're sewer, so
I know, that's why.
if I ask
That's why I
him
was
me.
talking to him about it. So we'll get to the bottom of it.
23, so that's not this year's capital.
Yeah.
That for what everyone, say 1.3. For the FUV, the fire truck, and bleachers.
At the
One set.
stuff.
22, yeah. Well, it's right down the same. Unfortunately, with the, well, the senior will come back with some information. You got pro. You got pro. Preparation.
Hang on to that for, yeah, hang on to that for a little bit.
Yeah.
We all have a world. And I think with everybody, I think with those projects, depending where the boiler comes in, that affect the ones that we don't have access to.
I have a question. Going back to the projects list, the Birch Grove Park Bandstand Amphitheater, is that just repairs to the bandstand?
I think that was what, Shannon.
Yeah.
That, or theater.
Seating and all that?
Um,
Seeing and sound. Yeah,
the
just the seating, just
Tower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
benches
that's-
only.
we're good
We're working on that.
in this, okay,
What was that?
the tower.
The stair project on for the football. Where's that?
Never had a problem.
Rami, okay, I have to talk to Rami because he's sent out to the manufacturer for the aluminum steps. So I'll check with him tomorrow on that.
Do we have to do aluminum? Can we just do pressure treated?
I think aluminum is the preferred. Let's get the price first. I think
Get the price first, but if it's,
I think the cost of wood's probably going to be pretty close to aluminum, if not.
could be, yeah, I know,
You know,
it's going up. again
maintenance
anyway.
wise, I think aluminum is much better.
It is, but pressure treated will last a good amount of time.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's-
you know, the
it's-
boardwalk's been replaced 7 times already. So, so I'll get with Rami, see where he is on that. He was supposed to get numbers from the same company, put the handicap ramp in. for the aluminum.
Is that something we intend to put into this?
It's something I would,
CLRF project list?
I believe it's something that has to be done
Yeah.
because it's becoming a serious safety issue with the score tower, getting them in and out that ladder starting.
I don't want to say what the ladder looks like, but
Yeah.
it,
Well, but I'm saying, the reason I ask is that it changes something.
Yeah,
the numbers.
Something comes off of here.
Talking with Rami, he doesn't foresee it being any more than about 20 to 25,000. And that's high. But I can't give you a specific number until we get the aluminum price.
and it's the aluminum that's gonna, the
Right.
steps that it's gonna bring up that. It's not so much the door and
The
construction.
structure, the carpentry, we can come up with a number on that. I need the
Easy
aluminum
part.
price.
Greg, did you
So-
look, I mean, it's no cost, but you look into that, grant I told you about the LED lights?
I have not called them yet, but it's on my list of things. One of the things that we can do here is the pavilion for Claire Moyer.
Yeah,
We have 3 targeted for Birch Grove Park picnic area.
it's like, yeah,
We could cut that back to put 2 in the picnic area and put 1 over for the Claire Memorial and just have 2 in the, and that way we can nix that 40-some thousand for the Claire Memorial one.
and do that.
And do the
one of the
make
capital.
that part of the 2023.
Step right, yep. So we can hold declare more up, but we need steps have to be done this year.
Okay. Can you declare more success? And you do the 25?
If we want to buy a car for code enforcement, we get a small SUV under state contract and then do that under capital. I know like the Ford Escapes, they're on their state contract.
We can, but it would take longer to do and they need a car. This is the fastest way to get one. And you don't have to bond a smaller cost. It's always better. Brings down our average useful life.
What kind of vehicle they get?
Yeah, that's why we
Like
like
keep it high, 16 something.
What kind of vehicle they get? Really should have a up to four-wheel drive for those guys that are outside. And what you're gonna get for 40 grand for four-wheel drive.
Especially if they drive through a construction zone. like that, it's money.
What kind of vehicle are they talking about, Dawn, for code?
They just, right now, they're just using a car.
It's not code enforcement. I just want to clarify. It's the inspectors.
Really, well,
So it's back
So
to
it's code enforcement zoning.
That was my misunderstanding.
Yeah, code enforcement is Officer Skull.
so what kind of car did the inspectors want? Just a car?
I
mean,
was
wouldn't they
looking at
want a-
something similar to what they have now, like a Malibu, but whatever you guys want to get. But to Dawn's point, they're still driving their own cars.
Oh, right, so, yeah, we don't, yeah.
We need to offset some of the revenue from construction.
I mean, wouldn't it make sense to get something small with four-wheel drive?
Is that
I'll look at the
something-
state contract tomorrow. But we're not going to bond it, right? We're
I'm
gonna
just throwing that
spend
out there
revenue.
with, the winters and stuff, driving around in the snow and nice four-wheel drive may be something that could become beneficial. Just a thought. I'm not driving it.
No. I think the theory was I think these are more money to operate, and that they're driving a car now, well, their own cars, so anything they have is better. We're doing that.
Because it was, yeah.
Worked on that.
Yeah, yeah.
How long is the life of a pavilion? I used to have to buy law, so I'm just wondering. What kind of pavilion, like your built structure? that we were talking about?
Yes. It's just roof and 4 or 5, 6 posts, I guess, supporting it. That's all. It's open. It's just basically a roof covered.
Or cement pad.
It's on a concrete pad.
We're talking about moving that to the capital for the bond.
Well, there's already 3 in there. What you're saying is one of the 3 could be.
Well, just 1 of 3 will be for more.
Okay, I see.
Do one less thing there.
They're all in Birch Grove Park. It's be separated from the ones in the picnic area. That's all.
Still a heck of an upgrade. Pretty good stuff.
Craig, this is a new
Pavilions.
pavilion, right? that you-
I'm sorry?
A new pavilion.
Yes.
In capital, 3 of them.
In the,
And they're, all 3 are
Well,
40, are they each?
we're asking for 3. 2 would go in the current picnic area, which is going to get revamped with paved park walkways with leading up to the pavilions. The third one we put over by where the garden club house used to be,
Mhm.
and that's going to be for Claire Moyer.
And all 3 are 48,000.
All 3, no. The 3 are part of the 105. For the picnic area? They're about 30,000 apiece.
Okay. So that's why it's taking it out. No, okay. You mentioned
got it?
earlier. Yeah, yep.
Picnic area, pavilions, walkways, 105. Under the capitals.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, then we reduced the 40, over here, we reduced this to 25, right? Yeah.
Well, in capital, you also reduce the bleachers. Do you need to up the picnic area one?
No,
So you can get all three for that 105?
yeah,
With the walkway.
Remember, these are just engineered costs, so they could, hopefully if they move, they go down. I mean, me personally, I think the cost for the pickleball courts, the basketball courts, I think that's pretty high, but we have to do site clearing, so.
And that'll be for 23.
Yes.
Yeah. That does seem.
Um,
And you never know by next year.
Site clearing is gonna eat you
Oh, yeah.
up pretty quick there.
You have a line item in for the site clearing, don't you?
that was
Um,
on the,
What was that? Oh, no, that's.
That's-
Playground.
Playground.
Yeah.
grading.
Are we still on the same design for the playgrounds, or is that up in the air?
The one that that the committee met and spoke to, we recommended that one that has been recommended by the company, and they have put it in other municipalities. It seems to be the most popular
Okay,
set, if you will.
a good set, it's door.
Yeah.
How about the surface? Are we sticking with the mulch, or are we gonna do like
It's gonna be
a top or?
mulch bed. The playground rate at mulch.
Yeah, mulch is horrible, but I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do out there that's gonna, with moths and everything, and
We'll move
tough
every,
area out there.
once we get the picnic area upgraded and the new playground, we can see what we can do to, what spots are gonna be left wide open, because there's still some room to,
Right.
because we still like to put some outdoor exercise equipment, if you will, out in that area somewhere.
Mhm.
I like to put it out by the lake, facing the lake, but wouldn't be a bad idea to scatter it through the park or frisbee golf, whatever you want to call that, disc golf. I don't see how you can do it, but I would love to do it, but I don't see how you can do it. Yeah.
The frisbee.
Takes a lot of room.
Of course, if you go to Cape May County Zoo, you're sitting there eating your lunch and discs are flying right by your head. So they must not care about it too much.
Yeah, it works there.
They go right through the parking areas and picnic areas.
Carolyn, you might have to check with the insurance. Handle frisbees and go by people there.
oh,
Make sure you ask them how Cape May does it.
You can't find more than 2 feet.
I know.
Did we increase the buildings and grounds budget a little bit too?
Yes and no.
Mhm.
We did a little bit, but we moved money out of there that went into the park. I made a new line for parks. So we can take better track of it now that we're not taking money from the trust. I mean,
That, we seem to take a big hit there because that's like the fund everybody wants to attack when they want stuff, so. Because my concern is trees always become an issue. Where do we take those out of?
I would, that's Public Works. Public Works is responsible for all the maintenance, the roads and all that. So that's in Public Works.
Correct, so,
Yeah. That's where that all comes from. Unless it comes out of the park, I need this one. But keep track of it there.
has that increased to compensate for the possibility of taking down more trees than we ever have, or is it still the same?
To find more trees than we ever had. No, I wasn't aware that.
Where are these trees that just around?
No, I'm just, it seems like every year a tree or two has to come down and it seems to, you have to get a contractor to come in, you're talking $5,000 for one tree.
We have a
You
lot of
know-
issues with the borders of like Henry Drive, the stuff that borders the park. Cove Avenue, same thing.
Right.
Not all of them are in Birch Grove Park, but just throughout town. I mean, stuff does happen. I'm just
Mhm.
want to prepare it because it's going to happen.
Out of our storm recovery trust.
I just want us to be prepared because, that's,
Not a bad-
because it usually happens at the end of the year and nobody's got money. Buildings and grounds is nearing the end and
Mhm. What is
How much, what did we spend? Did we have any
I-
for this past year?
I don't have an exact number, but yes, we have.
there's always something that comes up out there in the field.
Well, you want to probably.
I'm not talking $15,000-$20,000, just so we have some place.
I think it was 25.
What's that? What was 25?
The parks,
That was just for the park.
Yeah, that's just for the parks.
Yeah, I made a line item and for trees. We started tree removal so that we could better track it moving forward, so that. you can just do the report.
That would be-
But we do have money in a storm
Okay.
recovery trust too, so when trees come down after rain or this and that.
what is the number that you're putting in for,
In the
Trees?
last year.
Just put in a line to track it going
So we
forward.
use-
is there a number
Right
in
now,
front of
it's
that
gonna
line?
come out of storm recovery.
Okay.
They would suggest. So you want that.
You got 25 in parks now, 15. Closes down, then we've got 15.
We spent $11,000 with health fighters last year.
Some of those were in the parks, but the point taken is, it's costly.
Mhm.
Some
I
of them
know
were off
that-
Henry Drive.
What's that?
Some of them were off Henry Drive, Arthur Henry.
I know we had one at least one or two in Birch Grove Park, and I know that there was one at the Veterans Park as well.
They were on the Arthur Henry property?
No, our property, but in that vicinity.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We had one in Birch Grove Park that fell over somebody's fence on,
Mm.
was it Henry Drive or
Mhm.
one of
Henry.
those? So, I mean, it's something we have to be
Mhm.
mindful of. It's
It's a
costly.
great idea to create a line for it.
Mhm.
Wasn't there one at the Veterans Park as well?
That's what I said. Public Works, they do with the bucket truck, they do minor trimming and
They
stuff,
do
but
what they
big,
can.
but
yeah.
big trees like that, we can't handle
No.
that. Or they can't handle that, not we. Certainly not me.
We know you can.
We already started. But next budget meeting, we need a decision. We have to, it's our March 22nd meeting.
Yeah,
So. We can get those.
there's a couple of little things on the,
Right now, we're flat.
So what's the number I have to keep the stairs under?
I think she's. Well, you reduced the, oh, well, that wasn't in there. Yeah. that's
Well,
right,
like
I'm
Tom said,
sorry.
we still have the wild card is
Yeah, but
is the
that-
boiler.
But the pavilion was 23. We took that out of there and we want to go to 22. So we do have to find that.
Seems like somebody's been down this road before, huh?
Say the clerk goes to both stairs. I don't know.
25.
All right, well, then that
More.
seconds is a lot more money for the
A lot more
boiler.
money for asbestos.
For asbestos.
We could do them really cheap. But we'll get a price the other way. See.
Okay.
No, open to the public, Tom?
Yes. At this time, we open the meeting to the public, anyone from the public would speak, we ask that you state your name for the record and your address. And ask that you observe a 5-minute notice for speaker.
Anyone in Zoom wishes to speak, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Nope.
Seeing no one, the public session is now closed. Our next city council meeting is March 8th at 6 p.m. work session. Regular meeting will follow. And our next budget meeting will be March 10th at 4 p.m. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Hey, chief.
This year.
Are we-
Yes, thank you.